What keeps us locked in fear or living a life below average is the story we tell ourselves about ourselves. Before Sister Talk Group appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Life class and Oprah's network, we're having conversations about what will it take to actually live the life of your dreams? What will it really take for us to remove the mask, to be vulnerable, to show up as your most brilliant, bravest version of yourself? What my girlfriends and I talked about was that it takes courage to be seen. It takes courage to have conversation that goes beyond the boys, the bags, and the shoes. It took a lot for all of us to show up, to get into a room and to share the most vulnerable parts of ourselves. Why am I sharing this? I'm just telling you that it's hard. It's hard to show up and to allow yourself to be seen, to remove the mask, to be vulnerable. Because when you remove the mask, it means that you are exposing yourself to the world. And most importantly, with that exposure can come pain. I know what that feels like. I have removed my mask so many times. I have allowed myself to drop my hair, let my hair down, and to allow the world to see the full version of Carlin. Did that result in pain? Yes, it did. But it also resulted in something so magical. I was able to invite more joy, more love, more happiness, and I was able to create the life that I really want. If you can relate to the fear or the messy middle, the unknown of what it looks like for you to let down your hair or your mask, stay tuned. In this video, we'll be diving a little bit deeper in what it takes to truly remove the mask and to live the life that you really love. Here's the thing about change and transformation and creating the life that you want. You can't get to a beautiful life that you want without the messy middle. And the messy middle is exactly that. It's messy. It's filled with tears. It's filled with eating copious amounts of ice cream. It feels like doing things that you probably wouldn't normally do. We all cope in different ways. And in your messy middle, you don't know what will show up or who will show up. When you open up Pandora's box, you expose yourself to certain elements about yourself that you probably would have never discovered if you didn't do that. But I can tell you that the messy middle is so necessary because you cannot birth the best version of who you are without going through the messy middle, without getting a little bit dirty, without getting some mud on your hands and on your shoes and on your clothes and in your hair. But here's what I've learned. You cannot get through it if you don't go through it. So the getting through starts with the going through. And as you go through the messy middle, the number one thing that you will have to challenge is your limiting beliefs around who you are. Our limiting beliefs are often rooted in the stories we tell ourselves. And yes, I have an acronym for you. It's the SIMU. What keeps us locked in the messy middle is the SIMU. SIMU stands for SIMU, the story I'm making up. And a lot of us have made up stories about ourselves that is not a true reflection of who we are. Some of you have actually created a camp. You've bought real estate in your messy middle. That is not your destiny. That is just a stop. This is just one of the destinations on the route of becoming your best self. It's important that you don't make your messy middle who you are. Your messy middle is there to inform you. It's there for you to break through those limiting beliefs, for you to break through some of the stories that you made up about yourself while you were going through a difficult time. Your messy middle is just that, messy. So give yourself permission to break down. Give yourself permission to actually challenge some of the stories that you're making up about yourself. Give yourself permission to find people who can help you to break down together, cry together, let it all down, so that you can rebuild the version of yourself that you would like to move forward with. So in addition of allowing yourself to break down, in addition to allowing yourself to remove your armor, and here's the other thing, your armor can look different based on where you are in your messy middle. Sometimes some of us, it's the story we're making up, and with that story, we bring new norms in our lives. We create new narratives about who we are. We create those narratives and we make them our home. But one of the biggest lessons I learned from my virtual mentor, Tony Robbins, he talks about changing your state. And that is one thing that you can do. So in addition to challenging the story you're making up, in addition to identifying, have I created a tent, a home? Have I purchased real estate in my messy middle? Have I created a safety zone where nothing and no one can get in? Changing your state is a powerful way of going through the messy middle. And by that, I mean asking yourself, what am I really afraid of? And creating a different narrative that is on the other side of fear. What would happen if you did decide to go through the messy middle, all the way through? If you decide to let your armor down, if you decide to step fully into the arena of vulnerability, what is the worst case scenario that can happen? And you will discover as you list the worst case scenarios, in some cases, you have actually been through something like this, or you've actually overcome something like that. The messy middle introduces you to your resilience and the strength and the tenacity that lies within that you probably would have forgotten about. And that's the third thing about the messy middle. It will tell you that you do not have the strength or the confidence or the capacity for you to go through. Here's the truth. You can, and you do. You have everything you need to make it through the messy middle. One of my virtual mentors, Tony Robbins, shares a powerful strategy for making it through the messy middle. And he says that to challenge or to change your state. Most importantly, ask yourself, what is the worst case scenario? What is the worst thing that can happen if you do let down your armor, if you allowed yourself to be vulnerable, and if you allowed the most brilliant, authentic version of yourself to be seen? What is the worst that can happen? And here's what you'll discover when you complete this exercise. You will discover that you have the resilience, you have the tenacity, you have everything you need right inside you to help you make it through that messy middle. You have it. Because the person who will appear at the end of the messy middle is the stronger, most brilliant version of yourself. Another question Tony also uses to help challenge your current state is ask yourself, who am I when I'm not in fear? Who am I when I don't allow my fear to dictate who I am becoming? And you will discover that that strong, resilient person, woman, has always been there. All you have to do is to remind yourself of that state. And as you reflect on her, ask yourself, what is she wearing? How does she walk? How does she carry herself? What is her state? And who is she when she's feeling like that bold, brilliant, confident version of herself? That version of you is inside of you, because with every state or story we create, there's an emotion at the end of it. And just as your body can recall the fear-based emotion or the negative emotion, you can also recall the power that reminds you of who you really are. And that brilliant, powerful, strong version, that's who you are. The messy middle is just part of your journey. It's not who you are. So remember that, so that you can tap into that brilliant version of yourself and you recall on that energy. I call it your superpower. You have that ability for you to call on your inner warrior and activate it so that you can continue going through the messy middle and don't allow it to define who you are becoming. So as you craft your new story of who you are becoming, remember to constantly challenge your SIMU. Your story I'm making up. You are not your messy middle. Your messy middle is just a phase in your journey. It's just a stop. So constantly challenge that story, because your subconscious brain will create the narrative so that it can make sense of the fear that you're feeling right now. Your brain does not like ambiguity. It needs answers. And in the absence of the answer of the why you're going through that messy middle, it will create a fear-based story. So remember that you have to create the story of the warrior, the beautiful warrior who is journeying through that messy middle. And your messy middle will look different at different stages. Give yourself permission to break down. Give yourself permission to crawl through, to run through, to allow your warrior tribe beside you to carry you through. Like I said, before I appeared on Oprah's Live class, I was very fortunate to be surrounded by some beautiful warriors who helped me navigate through my messy middle. And boy, was it messy. There are some days the only thing I can do was to sit on the couch with my gremlins and just have a staring contest. I didn't have the energy for me to do anything with them. They were dark, they were loud, they brought the entire tribe of friends, and they all sat there and shamed me and told me I'm not good enough. But here's the thing. I remember that I was not alone. I remember that I had the strength and the courage for me to fight through because I didn't have to do it alone. I had my story of the beautiful warrior that I am becoming. And most importantly, I had my sisterhood squad with me who were ready to fight with me. So I did get up. I did make it through the messy middle. And so can you, beautiful warrior. Just remember that as you craft your story of the woman that you are becoming, to craft a story that is worthy of the future version of yourself, and that your messy middle is just that, a messy middle. And you are going to come out on the other side of it stronger, more powerful, and more brilliant than you have ever been. You are worthy of the dreams and the desires that you have right now. So don't give up on you. Don't give up on your messy middle. Remember, together we will rediscover your inner warrior, unleash your bold, so that you can share your most brilliant gifts and ideas with the world. Most importantly, you will get to share that story of the beautiful warrior who made it through her messy middle. And that's why I'm here today. That's how I'm here today. If I didn't make it through my messy middle, you would not be getting all of this here being shared with you today. So have faith, keep going, and remember, I believe in you always.